One of the favorite arguments of the open borders crowd is that when illegal aliens commit identity theft just so they can work, it is a harmless act. But is it really a victimless crime? We've all heard stories about how devastating having your identity stolen can be. This is one woman's account of just how harmless it isn't. The IRS contacted Emerita de Jesus back in 2003 about $18,000 in unreported income. She hired a local lawyer in California to look into the matter and quickly discovered that the ID thief was employed by House of Rayford, a poultry plant in North Carolina. The company informed Ms. de Jesus that they would need a letter from the IRS to address the problem. The IRS refused. Over the next year, her husband sent literally hundreds of letters and made dozens of phone calls to the IRS, credit agencies, and the FTC, and filed a report with the Los Angeles Police Department. They thought the issue was resolved, but 2004 brought another letter from the IRS about another year of undeclared income in North Carolina. A private investigator found that the same woman continued to work at House of Rayford, fraudulently using Ms. de Jesus' identity. Severely frustrated, Ms. de Jesus contacted 50 senators, 30 government departments, and 2 governors. No help was forthcoming. Next, the Los Angeles Police Department notified her that a 20-year-old Mexican female had been arrested and charged with fraud impersonation. She jumped bail, fled, and has never been located. At this point, de Jesus was deluged with calls from creditors for medical charges, cell phone service, and furniture purchases. They called frequently and at all hours of the day at night to harass her, all for debts she did not incur. The cost to de Jesus? Her husband reports that both her physical and mental health have been damaged by the ordeal. She still jumps nervously when the phone rings and wakes up panicked in the middle of the night. And let's not forget the thousands of dollars spent out of her own pocket just to try to clear up her finances and try to get her good name back. You do the math. Yet at whose feet does the Wall Street Journal lay blame for all of this? Come on, take a guess. How about attempts to enforce our immigration law? I wish I was joking. Marcy Foreman, head of investigations for ICE. When you make it harder for illegal immigrants to get work, you force them to take riskier measures. Meanwhile, our race-pandering Congress critter Luis Gutierrez noted during his I Heart Lawbreakers tour of Postville, illegal immigration is not an aggravated felony. Of course, illegals in the raid in Postville were charged with an aggravated felony. It's called identity theft. And for today's full dose of irony, Ms. de Jesus is a legal immigrant from Honduras. So the next time you hear someone snivel about identity theft as a victimless crime, cry that it's all the government's fault for enforcing the law once in a blue moon, and whine about justice for immigrants, tell them to talk to someone who knows more than they could ever know about it. Tell them to talk to Emerita de Jesus. The victim, Alvaro Donis Molina, 25. The accused, Otto Rene Sandoval Aguirre, 25. Asuncion de Jesus Escalante Rojas, 25. And an unnamed minor, all illegal aliens. The charge, first-degree murder. The story. On the evening of July 27th, the Lincoln County, North Carolina Sheriff's Office responded to a call about an argument. Upon arrival, they observed a pickup truck speeding away from the scene and used stop sticks to halt the vehicle. Inside, they found the victim with a gunshot wound to the abdomen. His roommate was rushing him to the emergency room. Molina was airlifted to a medical facility, but died early that morning in the ICU. The suspects were located based on witness testimony, arrested, and charged with first-degree murder in Molina's death. In the published reports, the victim is described as a Hispanic male. Oddly though, when you access the Lincoln County Inmate Information website, you learn that Otto Rene Sandoval Aguirre and Asuncion de Jesus Escalante Rojas are, you guessed it, Arizona white. Which means that if convicted, crime stats will reflect 1 more Hispanic victim and 2 more white criminals. Of course, if the same government that's desperately trying to manipulate the stats had been doing its job, getting and keeping illegal aliens out of our country, Aguirre and Escalante Rojas wouldn't have been here to commit murder on American soil in the first place. And that makes this crime what? 100% preventable. The victims, two Pauling, New York women. The criminal, Flaviano Quintero, also known as Hector Hernandez, also known as Hector Quintero, 25, an illegal alien from Mexico. The crimes, first-degree rape and predatory sexual assault. The story. Earlier this month, Quintero pled guilty to raping both women in their Pauling homes in late 2007. One victim reported that Quintero yanked the hair out of her head and that she thought she was going to die. Police quickly tracked the dirtbag, but while being questioned about the rapes in his home last December, he jumped out a window and fled. He was later apprehended in Michigan and returned to Dutchess County for prosecution. Quintero will be sentenced this week and faces 20 years to life, plus deportation if he ever gets out. It wouldn't be a new experience. Quintero was already deported once, but somehow, magically, miraculously, managed to sneak back across our fortress-like southern border. Of course, if our government had been doing its job, getting and keeping illegal aliens out of our country, Quintero wouldn't have been here the first time, and he wouldn't have been here a second time to brutally rape these two women. And that makes this crime what? 100% preventable. Most of the time, our feckless government facilitates illegal immigration through inaction by simply averting their eyes and pretending they don't see the damage that's being done to Americans. In certain places, however, places we call post-America, they take more direct action when citizen activists start hitting a little too close to home. Last summer, the city of Los Angeles granted California activist Ted Hayes a permit to rally in Leimert Park, but on the day, he was denied access to the park by the Los Angeles Police Department. And remember Jamil Shaw, gunned down by an illegal alien gangbanger who had been released from jail just the day before? Well, the Shaw family has been gathering in the same Leimert Park, seeking signatures in support of Jamil's law. But 2 Saturdays ago, city sanitation, parking enforcement, general services, motorcycle officers, and a helicopter all showed up to stop their efforts. Los Angeles' response? Deny, deny, deny. Our response? How about letting citizens exercise their right to actively participate in our government without harassment, instead of providing sanctuary for illegals? I know. What a concept. Thanks for clicking in to this week's episode of the Blogs for Borders Video Blog Burst. We'll be back next week to bring you more news the news ignores. As a matter of fact, we're all about it. If you'd like to be all about helping us keep it up, go to freedomfolks.com and click the Support Blogs for Borders button. PayPal will take it from there. And until next week, be vigilant, be vocal, and be unrelenting. We've got a country to save.